Dictionary.com describes an unplanned approach as impromptu, done without preparation, unpremeditated, done without intention, random, done without order, unintended, done without purpose, unwitting, done without awareness, or spontaneous, done without thought. Sounds about right. Well, now that we have that established, let's start the show.
It's not really that.
Hey, well, it's something. So, yeah.
It's just you sign up with it. It's like a notification. So you just put in like your address. You can put in your work address, and you could put someone else's address that you spend a lot
Like
of
this
time
place right here.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they'll send you notifications of if someone who's on the sexual predators list.
What's the name of this app?
Well, it's through it's just through like whatever county,
okay.
The sheriff of that county does it. So
Right.
So then you click on it and you can see like how many, like it'll tell you near your address.
App, isn't it?
It's just I just do it through the sheriff's office.
Oh, I do Citizens.
I've never done that
And all
because
the pedophiles.
right.
Well, it will,
There's
but
like
then,
9 of them.
And for some reason, the map looks like Verizon coverage.
I'm like, our whole neighbor, I feel like, dude, we missed out. Everybody else is.
Right.
Maybe we're in the wrong.
well, apparently they don't just put sexual predators; they put murderers on there too.
Murder.
But I don't know why the murderers are
Murder was a
out.
case
Why-
of the-
why-
Right.
I mean,
Well, actually, some of the sentences you see, though, that like, it wasn't too bad. He probably didn't mean it.
Yeah,
Let's give him
well-
like 8 years.
well, but if it's got like life, because it'll tell
it's
you if
called
they're
manslaughter.
if they're-
That's not murder.
Well,
Eh.
there's manslaughter, and then there's like, second degree, different, but like straight up murder is, I think that's the highest level.
Well, first degree.
Yeah.
So you got first degree, second degree,
Manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
Right. I didn't want to, but he needed to die.
I never intended to kill him tonight.
But
I was
but
gonna
now
kill
that
him.
it's happened, it's really not too big a deal.
Kill him. I didn't think.
Well, but that would be
he's supposed-
premeditated, I think, if you were,
Now, is it?
And
Though? Is it premeditated? If, like, okay,
That's
so
just
I go to
first
your
degree.
house, I'm coming to murder you. That's premeditated. If I say, "Man, one day I'm gonna kill your ass," and I do it 8 months later,
I think that would still be an argument for premeditation because you
call an attorney. Hey, next show, we're
Right.
coming. You're
Yeah.
coming back on, and we're
Okay,
gonna find an
okay.
attorney
Well, right. We'll get an
to
attorney.
find out if you should turn yourself in or not.
Right.
Plea down.
For which
plea
one?
down.
There were 3 people in that
Which-
van that
which
brought me
one?
home.
Only one made it home.
Right.
Oh my God! So yeah, that's a great story. And you kind of tiptoed around that. You didn't even come out and say it. That was like one of those books.
Yeah, I
back in the day.
definitely.
Well, he threw that on.
Yeah.
I wasn't,
You weren't ready.
Well, I didn't know where he was going with that.
Well, I just remember you telling me about it one time, and I was just astounded because at 12, like I said, oh my God, I
You
can't.
must be a hell of
I
a salesperson.
cannot
'cause
imagine.
I would have never been able to do that.
I'm
No.
very persuasive when I need to be, I guess.
Yeah,
With
I am,
life insurance,
I
you
am.
just buy
No,
life
I am right. I am not persuasive.
I can be.
I can't. Well, yeah, right.
I mean, you could be charming.
I mean,
Sure.
Could
you got me to ride
maybe
in that
one
car with
maybe
no
one day. I
headlights
keep
the whole way
trying.
Here.
Do what?
You got me to ride with you in that car with no headlights the whole way
That's
here.
true. That's true.
headlights?
Well, it's got headlights, but they're
can't-
like me, dim.
You can barely tell that when he turned them off. You can barely tell that. And we got
You could
flashed
tell.
a couple times on the way here. Like, turn your lights on.
We're okay.
What is that? The blue car?
That blue car,
What
yeah.
fucking year is that?
I don't know, 2000 something, 1 or 4.
You could probably update to an
It's
8.
not mine. I'm
He's
2008.
driving
I'm
it.
doing a
He's driving
favor.
it for a favor.
yeah, I'm doing a favor.
You're what?
Yeah, I'm kind of so. Yeah, April's dad he's into buying and selling cars, and that one
He couldn't get rid of.
No. No, it's actually, it's not a bad car. The headlights
wants
definitely
him to
need
drive
work, but the
around.
rest of the car is actually pretty nice and just, hey, drive around, make sure everything's okay. So I've been driving around the last couple of weeks.
So the headlights.
Does he pay for the gas?
No,
Oh.
no.
the headlights? How?
They're
so
very
They're
dim.
just dim.
No, they're
It's
dim.
why
okay.
don't you put new bulbs in them?
Very dim.
Why don't I do a lot of the things that I don't do? I don't know.
That's
Why don't I enunciate
See,
better?
That really pisses me off when people don't have their headlights. You touch the nerve here, man. I can't stand.
They're not off. They are on.
But when So
They're just a little low.
When I see
They're
somebody
really
that's
Oh, look, it's mood lighting.
It's like they're really low. Like,
what kind of car is that? When you pulled in,
Pacifica.
that is an old school. That's not even the nice, the good.
That's a
version.
nice car. It's got heated
leather,
seats.
It's got leather seats.
Yeah.
But the heated seats are in a weird spot, so it's
Yeah.
it takes
It's
its
nice.
What's it right behind your neck? So you can pass out?
All right.
This was a date rape car. Get in.
Right. All the windows are blacked out. Oh, what's going on?
What's wrong with your
It's got
friend?
shag carpet in the back, and all the seats are taken out.
Nobody can tell. You're gonna take me to the prom. And, oh, isn't that cute? What you did in the back? Is that where the dog sits?
Is that an air mattress?
Oh, and the rails are off.
That
and we're
reminds
off.
me, I did hitchhike in Vegas once. Kind of.
What?
And he said, "Don't mind, I have."
Wait a minute,
She
Well,
hitchhiked in Vegas.
Well, kind of.
She just said.
I mean, kind
What?
of.
What the hell's kind of?
Here's
Well,
the deal. When you start
kind
to
of.
tell a story, you can't not tell it. You can't like throw it out and be like, ah. You have to tell the story. So.
Like, have you ever banged? Well, kind of. Have you ever banged a guy? Kind of.
Well, no.
Kind of. It's kind of.
That's-
I
you
kind of
get banged,
hitchhiked.
you get banged.
Just
You get
like a
banged, you
little.
get banged.
Just
But
a little.
I'd never been to the Vegas sign, and I just met.
It's overrated. Did you find out? You're
Well,
like,
well, it was. I mean,
Was it
so
night?
it was like 5 a.m, and so.
Were you going to church?
So the guy pulls up in the Tesla. No. So I met him walking through the Flamingo. And then he
See?
I stayed in the Flamingo.
I didn't
Yeah.
stay there. I was staying at Caesars, but I was walking through
Stayed
the
there
Flamingo.
too?
She's like you. When she goes on a cruise, there are no riffraff.
Well,
No, Riff, you're high.
No,
You're
see?
highfalutin.
Oh, yeah.
So you would never go carnival?
Oh God, no! Look at her. Look at the look of distaste on
You
her
go Royal
face.
Caribbean. Where are you, Virgin? Virgin's the highest one.
Is it?
well, I mean, unless you do.
She
the
goes
river
private
cru-
charter.
Unless you go the river cruises, like in Germany. Like,
See,
but no,
That is highfalutin.
right?
You don't come off as highfalutin except your eye.
My glitter.
There's a little glitter.
A little glitter.
I thought maybe you guys stopped somewhere. I go, where'd you get her? I didn't know it was a truck stop. I was gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, like
No, it's truck stop.
PTs.
She's like, I'm done driving. I'm like, I'll come get you.
A lot of truck drivers were disappointed when you pulled up, Kyle.
Oh, right.
Like that guy, that
Hey, and you know
That's
what?
exactly what it
guy must
was.
be her
This
pimp.
gig. This
It must-
gig, this
hey,
gig
she
doesn't
likes
pay.
Pacificas.
This gig doesn't pay like the lot would have.
Right, that's true.
Must be her pimp. No way she's getting into that guy. No way. So wait, so you jump in a? So you were
It was a
walking
Tesla.
through the Flamingo.
No, so I was walking
What?
through
So
the Flamingo.
what?
And I was singing the song, and like the guy
What
was singing.
song
It
were-
was some song.
Oh,
from,
I
like, the
thought you said you were singing the song.
No, I was singing some
Sorry.
song. It was
Me
playing
so
over.
horny
you know,
by 2 Live Crew.
and
The
then-
guy goes, "I'll take you to the sign."
Right.
No, and then I don't know. I started talking. We just started talking and over the song and
From the
because
windows to the
No, he
walls.
chose
The sweat pours off my balls.
no.
She's like,
Do you want to ride to the Vegas sign?
I do that for karaoke.
That
That's my karaoke go-to.
I let him buy me some cheap food at some place. I don't know. I met up with him later. Him and his friend, who are both engineers.
Cabbies.
He was like a year older than me, and he was retired. He was telling me about how he's retired and he just travels around and
Picks up young ladies that are unsuspecting,
Well,
and then introduces his friend, and before you know it, you wake up back in your room with a bathrobe on going, man, I feel like I was at a spa. That's not a
I have a
spa.
headache. I have a headache. No.
Sore, not
No.
here or here. Right here. Sorry.
No. That's all right. It didn't. No, I mean, he picked me up. Anyway,
He seemed nice.
So he seemed nice. He said, "Have
It was
you ever
great
been
till he
to?
got the handcuffs
Have you
out.
ever been to the Vegas sign?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, and we went there and."
He
But I
kissed
get
you.
in the
Did he
car
make
and
moves
he
on
goes,
you?
Well, he did mention. He said, "Don't be alarmed by the mattress. I sleep in it sometimes."
What?
So when you said something about the mattress, is what?
He had a mattress in his car?
Yes.
That's outstanding.
Fuck Tesla was he driving where you had a mattress in it?
It was specially made for his Tesla, I guess.
Right.
'Cause
Elon
he
makes
lives like
orders.
up in Washington, or so he would drive, straight down to Vegas.
That is great.
so lucky.
Don't mind the
But
mattress.
see, actually,
Or this rope.
Wait,
Hey,
this-
smell this.
Right. Does it smell like chloroform?
Like chloroform to you? I thought it was odorless. Come
You know what's funny is that's actually
It happened?
that's my Facebook picture is me. That's the morning he brought me to the Vegas line.
At least your next picture wasn't you in the Whitechapel.
No.
And he's the one behind her with the ski mask on.
With a knife. That's not a knife.
That's not a knife.
So after that,
I
you went
fooled
back where? To his place?
No, he asked me to, but I said no, and then I
His place being, hey, you want to go back to my room? Right
Hey,
behind
I
you.
can take you to your hotel. We just park in your parking lot, sleep in my room.
No, he actually had a suite over at this, but I was like, no.
No.
Were you in Vegas by yourself?
No.
Who were you in Vegas? She goes,
I was
my husband. Wait a minute.
Actually, well, no. I mean, we're not married, but we've
Her significant other.
my baby daddy.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
we've shared the same home for the past. How old is
But you were,
Hannah?
who were you in Vegas with?
He was there. We were there for convention.
What?
I was there for my convention, which is also his convention.
They work in kind of the same industry.
Kind
I'm
of, yeah.
following that, but I don't
Okay.
know how many conventions get out. Actually,
There's a lot of conventions. There's
Well,
a
you know
hitchhiking
what? There
convention.
There's How to Get Away with Murder.
Right? Don't forget that
It's all
convention.
the locals.
Right.
Come on in. We can't wait to get you in here. Actually, a lot of people are getting away from that. Bigger corporations are getting away from Vegas because it's become a
See,
it's a shit show.
ours
What's
is-
wrong with the shit show?
Yeah, well,
Well, people don't want to spend $10 million to have a national sales meeting, and 90% of people don't show up, and when they do, they're all fucked up, and just
Oh, is it that bad?
it leads to all kinds
well,
of stupid
see,
shit.
our convention, because it's our buying group is so large that we can only be at either Vegas or the Gaylord in Nashville or the Gaylord in Dallas. Those are the only places that, with all our vendors and with our that we can. So it's
So you pick them.
so we go every other so we have a spring convention, a fall convention, and we rotate.
Right.
In
Yeah.
Vegas, everybody rotates.
Everybody rotates.
You got a lot of crystals and shit. Are you kind of hippie-ish? Is that why you got into the dead at 12?
Maybe.
I mean, are you? You seem free-spirited a
I'm
little
a
bit.
free spirit. I'm a spiritualist. I guess. I don't know.
I love it.
I dig this one.
You do
I actually
incense
made.
and
I
shit?
made
You're
this one myself.
Out
This
of-
was my first. Well, I dug it.
is that where you went to
I
get
dug
the-
it, and then I actually wrapped it myself. But
So you said you go where to dig crystals?
Mount Ida, like Hot Springs, Arkansas. It is the that and Brazil are the quartz capitals of the world.
So have you made any countertops for your house? You're like, man, I got enough of this shit to go for making
Well, I
countertops."
probably do have enough of it for that almost.
Do you sell it or what do you do?
I just collect it, but I may start selling it.
So you have a storage shed somewhere. She hoards quartz. You're like,
Well,
well, this is the oddest hoarder we've ever
I
met in
just
our
have
life.
it everywhere in my house and around my house.
And
in
you
my
craft
house.
shit? You do like
Well,
crafts with
I just
it?
started to. I mean, I have most of it I had displayed, but I've always been fascinated. I've always had rocks in my pockets. My mom said when I was little, I'd come back. I go and whenever
Did you have a rock tumbler where they
I do
shine
have
up?
I
and
do
stuff?
have a rock tumbler, but I don't really ever use it.
What do you got that? I mean, that'd be sweet. You put that in a rock tumbler.
But then
it'll get shiny.
You lose not quartz. You wouldn't put quartz in a rock tumbler because it would just break up.
Yeah,
It would?
just
break
tear it up.
Yeah, just tear it up. You
Oh,
wouldn't
it's
put quartz in
granite.
it.
No,
It's
granite's
Yeah,
what we
granite.
got.
Yeah, you
Right.
could put granite. You could put most stones, rocks, but I mean the
So
way
you
that
just like
crystals-
quartz. You don't like granite. You don't
No,
like marble.
I do. I find geodes. I find crinoids. I find fossils.
Okay, so geodes are those midgets that run around picking up quartz.
I think it is.
Yes, yes.
Are those
yes.
guys? The guys
They're
from
the ones that pop
Nintendo?
out. They pop out of it when you crack it.
When you rub the quartz,
yeah,
they pop out.
of it. Yeah, yes.
And then we collect them
That's right.
like fireflies.
We keep them.
Catch 'em.
That's right. We put them in little jars.
They're a delicacy. So you said, what was the other thing before you said? So you said geos and then.
Geodes and crinoids and
Oh wait, crinoid sounds like a bad
it's
case
like-
of something coming out of
hemorrhoids or
yes.
something. No.
Crinoids. Ooh, those are hemorrhoids.
No, they're like
That's
the little-
Times two.
hemorrhoids.
Stage
Sit
4.
down and you're gonna cry.
Stage
Oh.
4 crinoid.
Crinoid, stage 4.
So what is a crinoid?
So they were plants. They're ancient plants. It used to be at the bottom when this was all covered by ocean, and so you can find them. They're usually in the same areas you find geodes.
So
you'll
what do
find
those look
crinoids.
like? Oh.
So they look like little worms, but they're actually plants. So you can find them. So they're like little. They look like little worms, but they're actually plants. So they're like little. They look like little worms, but they're actually plants. So they're like little. They look like little worms, but they're actually plants. but they come like little sections, and they have usually like a hole or a star in the middle of them. And
So they're
and
not alive anymore.
No.
Oh,
no. They're fossilized.
Okay, so
And you can find them in creeks and like around southern Indiana. Like
You have
Bloomington,
seen them, you
Delta.
just
Yeah.
don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you're.
They
So,
kind of look like those. I don't know. they kind
so
of like
a geo is what? Then I
a geode would be a round rock that you crack in half. It has crystals inside, or it could have amethyst inside. It can have
the whole inside
calcite
of it is
inside.
crystal.
What's this from?
I'm trying to help.
You got it. You got your definition out of
His mom is.
Lord
My
of the
mom's a
Rings.
geologist. I know
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that.
I know things.
Yeah.
I only know your mom from falling down trying to pick up your dad. I know one story about your mom.
Right.
And well, two.
And she's a
What,
geologist.
taking
And
pictures.
Right. And taking pictures.
Yeah,
Right.
of your dad.
Right, of my dad.
Yeah.
Told me
So,
another
yeah.
story that was funny though.
So,
she's a
yeah,
geologist. What does she do?
Studies rock.
No fuck, dude. But like, did she just walk around and pick up from?
Right. Just looks at him and like look
the
at that
guy
thing.
you met from the guy during
back out.
recess at the middle institution.
Right. Right. Lick it.
He's picking up, looking at rocks, dude. Ooh, this one's
She
flowery.
licks them. She licks them.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, does she work? Or does she? I mean, what does a geologist do outside of if they're not an archaeologist? I always wondered what geologists. What would you
Well,
say you do
Geologists
here?
and archaeologists are very different.
I know, but they're both studying geologists. I get that, but what would a geologist? I don't understand. Rocks.
Depends on what kind of study you do, but it has a lot to do with like
Tremors and shit.
the
Could be.
earth and
So
how
what
it
does she work-
interacts.
What does she do? What did your mom do then?
She was a professor at IUPUI.
Okay, so she taught geology.
Yeah, but
Okay, so
she
that-
is a geologist as well. I mean, she has a doctorate, bachelor.
Does she? She's a PhD.
I think so. I think that's right. I don't know. She did it for a long time.
Well, didn't she go to Tennessee for that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tennessee
She's
to
a
do what?
doctorate.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
it's one of the best geology programs in the nation.
I just can't understand what. It's like people that get psychology degrees.
What are you
and
trying
they
to
don't
say?
get on to get their MD. I just don't know what you do with it unless you go all the way and you do
Well,
it like
hers was, and
That's a geode. That's inside of a geode.
I've seen it. I got 3 of them upstairs.
Anne could probably speak to this as well. So what started was she went to UT for physical therapy because my dad's quadriplegic, and
How long's he been? How long? You told me. How long's he been?
since he's year 47,
He's a fucking miracle.
he's something.
I mean,
I don't
no,
know.
seriously. The life expectancy
I know.
is.
I tell the story all the time. If we dug a hole every time they said he had 6 more months, we'd be living in China. But no, it was
or
bad.
rich, you would have found.
It was
a bunch
bad.
of
Or right, we'd have found a bunch of
geodes,
geodes.
midgets
Right.
running around with
Right.
quartz.
You know, huge.
But so she gets into physical.
Huge midgets carrying around bags of quartz.
She gets into physical therapy, and to get into the final schooling, you had to be say the top
geologist?
20. No, you had to be like the top 25 in the class or some such. She was carrying, I think, a 4.1, and didn't qualify because everybody was trying to get into physical therapy because of
How
It's
old
pretty
were you
lucrative.
When she was doing that, when she was going through that.
high school,
God,
middle school, high school, right in there.
she was wow.
Well, high school, because when she did not get into that school, a friend of hers, she had taken, I think, a geology class, kind of on a lark. And a friend said, hey, maybe you should switch to this. And she took a couple more classes and just fell in love with it.
Really?
Uh-huh. Loved it. She loves it. There's evidence
Did you have a
of
sandbox
geology.
as a kid?
Do what?
Did you have a sandbox as a kid?
No,
She
this
tied
is
little rocks in there. He's like,
this is a
Later in life, right?
very much later in life. Yeah, I was 18, so she was, what, around 40?
I just
Yeah.
have never been fascinated. But I just
Well,
that's
but
the one part of science that I thought, what you just I know you can study all kinds of shit about earth and rocks and all that.
well, I mean, like one of the cool things that she had on our kitchen table for a long time, she had a meteorite that they carbon dated at 4.2 billion with a B, billion years old. I think that's kinda
Where'd
cool.
you get it? That is cool.
It
Fell from the sky.
yeah, fell from the sky. Landed in I want to say it was Russia is where it was
feel
from.
really bad that a girl that went to a Dead concert at 12 and hitchhiked home is giving me shit. I mean,
Hey,
I gotta be honest with you.
She's done stuff. She's done things.
I've done stuff. I've been places.
She's done something. Yeah, right.
Went to the.
Yeah, when
Las
we talked
Vegas
about-
sign with probably a serial killer.
Well, like when you and I have talked a couple times that we lived, especially childhood, we were
very-
relatively sheltered. A lot of things we didn't have much contact with. There's our opposite.
So how is that? I mean,
I
because your
back- I
parents
She's
were
done things.
older?
She's been places.
I backpacked Europe at 16.
Uh-huh.
So 2.5 months I spent with only what was on my back and a king size sheet that we sewed together, and we
Who were
stayed in
you with?
hostels. I was with this woman named Becca Jablonski, and she was probably 23, and then her brother, who just turned 18, and that was her gift to him, was taking it, and she invited me to go. She was she lived in my dorm. She was like the dorm mother at my private high school. Because I told my dad that he could either send me away to high school or I was going to go follow the Grateful Dead. It was his choice, and he paid for me to go away to high school.
16? Mm-hmm. You gave your dad an ultimatum?
Well, I
want to meet your
15.
dad.
Well,
I want to meet your dad.
well, you'll have to wait.
It's tougher now. But
Yeah, it's a lot harder.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I mean, were they? Oh, that is, man.
see, that's what I mean. She lived a completely different childhood than we did. I would say that to my parents, and they'd just laugh until we go to my room.
I just kind of want to.
Dad would run over me with the
wanna know-
wheelchair.
I'm interested in what you experienced at young age. That God, you were probably by the time you got to 21, you were 10 years more mature than your 21-year-old friends. Probably
Yeah.
saw shit that.
Well, and
Participated
that's about when I
in
got
some
married.
shit?
That's when I got married to a man who was 19 years older than me. That was stupid. Yeah, that was the dumbest thing. But you know,
It
you live, you
happens.
learn, you grow.
How'd you meet him?
At a Dead concert. Hitchhiking.
It was at a concert, but not.
Was it
at
at a kid's concert?
It was at a concert, and I think he was probably my friend's drug dealer. I didn't realize it at the time.
See?
It's awesome. It's awesome because I was telling Kyle that I grew up so sheltered that the last time we were allowed to go, so my mom is from Michigan. Her whole family's from up there. So we'd go up for Christmas, every year. And the last year we went, there was some screwy stuff up there, like just some things that we were like, what? Our jaws were dropped.
Right.
And my dad was just like, yeah, you guys don't need to be exposed to some of this shit, So we go up there the last year we were allowed to go. We're all sitting around. So Christmas Eve, we'd all meet at my grandmother's house. And all the cousins and everybody would be there. And I'll never forget this. One of my uncles walks in and says, the door opens and, hey, Uncle so-and-so.
He doesn't remember his uncle's
I
name.
know, I remember his
No.
name. But he walks in and he
protected.
looks at the whole family and he just looks just decompressed. He's just exhausted.
Right.
And we're going to call my cousin Shelby.
Okay.
He walks in and it was like, hey, where's Shelby? And he's like, all right, I got to tell everybody something. Whole family's there. He goes, Shelby's addicted to crack. I'm like a freshman in high school.
Right.
Or maybe an 8th grader.
And you're thinking butt crack?
My brother's a junior.
No, you probably
I've
get,
never
like,
seen.
80s crack.
I've never seen
crack
marijuana.
babies. Right.
I've never seen cocaine. I've never seen anything. And I didn't see cocaine until I was 23 at a party, and I'm like, "What's this guy doing?" They're like, it's cocaine. Like that's what it is.
We used to crush up Smarties and like act like and play like we were adults, and like part of that was snorting Smarties. But
And now you want to see cocaine. You just come out with me to the car. I got a bag in the glove box.
So when they gave her the candy cigarettes, she's like, "Yeah, right,
right.
I got my own."
I rolled a few on the way in.
Knocking out some Newports, rolling them down.
Newports. Yeah.
But no, I mean, we're sitting there,
Right.
and everybody's like, "Oh, like we were the only ones
Right.
that were
Right.
taking
right.
me,
Aback.
my
You're
brother,
like,
my sister, my dad. We're like, what?
Right.
And everybody
Right.
else is like, oh man, I'm like, how are you fucking Yao, man. How's everybody not like us?
Was this Detroit? Or
No. It's trap. But it ended up working out. Everything got better.
She
but
got off the
I'll
crack,
never
but-
forget.
Right.
And I'm looking at my older brother, who I kind of put, on a pedestal, and I'm looking at him like, he's like, holy shit. And I remember talking later, I'm like, dude, crack. She's talking about the stuff we saw on New Jack Hustler, New Jack City, right? Like, that's
Right.
So
crack.
Nancy Reagan was like,
Yeah, Nancy Reagan
Nancy
said
Reagan
just
was
pass.
Brain
That's right.
in a frying pan.
Right.
I think so.
all the crack babies of, yeah.
So you backpacked at 16.
Again, at 16, I was a blithering idiot.
How in the hell would your parents were just like, yeah, man, go.
Well, we always had exchange students. Like, my mom worked for YFU, so I felt like every country that I was in, there was like someone I could call that I felt comfortable. In fact, when we stayed in Germany, my Finnish exchange student gave us her apartment, and we stayed there for a couple days. And but we stayed in hostels most of the time. And
Have you seen the movie Hostel? Have you seen it?
well, I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I've been banned for life from the Flying Pig hostel in Amsterdam. No fault of my own, but I also went in. It was a bunch of military guys from the
It's even
states
wor-
that got us banned. But that
Do you
was
understand how people are picturing you? I'm serious. I mean, they can't see you. People that are picturing you thinking, God, I hope she's hot. If she's hot, these stories are even better. If I said, picture this, they'll go, man, we're turning this episode off. This is awful. Guys, you're on the right path, though. No, I mean, these. So, okay, the Flying Pig.
yeah. There was a great big Dutchman in there in our room. We walked in and he looked at us and flashed us that he was completely buck naked. And then I thought, oh God, we have to go back into this room tonight and stay in one of these bunk beds. And this guy, but he just looked at us and kind of snickered and then rolled over. And that was, probably.
You didn't get him thrown out? You didn't tell somebody that?
I think we did, but they were more upset that we got followed by. At this point, we're about halfway through our trip, and so we were really like longing for something American. So we ended up going to this place called Boom Chicago. It was a comedy place in Amsterdam, and there were all these military guys, and they overheard me talking to Becca about how we're in Amsterdam. I want to see the red light district, right? And they're like, oh, you can't go there by yourselves. You guys can't. And I was like, yeah, we can watch it, And he was like, no. So
We'll take care of you.
Yeah. They got all drunk and they poured their beer all over my camera and ruined it, And then they were trying to follow us back, and they overheard where we stayed. So they went there looking for us. And they told them that we had let them in there, and you're not allowed to let people in.
Right.
So we really didn't let them in there, but when we
Did
were
they know
checking
how
out,
old you were?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure.
Were they American troops?
Yeah, they were American.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
this guy's. That was when the military was a little bit different. It wasn't when, like now.
No.
You have anything you picture.
Right.
Anything you want. So, okay, so they kicked you out because those guys tried
Well,
to
they
get
just
in?
told us that we were banned. We could never come back. They took our passport numbers, and yeah.
Like, dude, we'll be back in 6 months. You won't kick those.
You won't have any idea.
Really?
Right.
It's okay for the Dutchman to flash us, but
Well, I got kicked out of a liquor store 3 weeks ago.
For flashing.
for flash, same thing.
I
What do you mean
can't
you
keep
don't
it in
have
my
Rolling
pants.
Rock? Said, "Show
Helicopter,
me-"
helicopter.
They said, show me your nuts. I go, "Blue." No, I pulled up and my youngest, I was just going to run in real quick and she didn't want to stay in the car. So I said, just come in the door and stand by the door.
Right.
I'm going to grab it. It'll be
Right,
2 seconds.
right.
I walk in and the guy that's working behind the counter looks at her and sees her.
Right.
He's like, you can't be in here. You need to get outside. And I come around the corner. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I said, buddy, just stay there. And I meant go outside, just stay by the window where I can see you.
Talk to that bum sitting over there.
Right.
And he's like, and all of a sudden he jumps into my shit. And I said, dude, buddy, it's fine. You don't have to scream
keep
at
in
her.
my eye. Right,
I said,
yeah,
you don't have
don't
to
scare
scream
her.
at her. He goes, you're the one that brought a fucking kid in a liquor store. I said, why are you getting this out of control? He goes, fuck you, man. And he starts in on me. And he goes, just get the fuck out. And I said, here's my card. Just pay for it. So we go through all this shit. And he's reaming me up and down. And I cannot figure out why he's so out of control. And I grab my shit and I start to walk out. And as I walked away, I just went, Jesus. And he goes, "What you say, motherfucker?" Now he comes around and he goes, "Get your fucking ass out of here. You don't ever fucking come back." So we get in the car. He comes outside.
Oh my gosh, your daughter
And
must have been.
I'm backing up and I'm leaving. I'm not even paying it.
Right.
At this point, I'm like, this guy is so out of control. I mean, I could have sat and turned around. I'm like, what is your problem?
Right. What happened? 'Cause
I'm
obviously
not-
didn't do this.
I'm
to
not
you.
excited about this. You are losing
Your mind.
your mind about this. Okay? And he goes, "No, you told her to stay there." I said, "No." I said, if that's
Right.
I'm sorry. I even said, "I'm sorry if that's what you thought."
Right.
I said, "No, I was telling her to stay on the outside." He goes, "That's not what you meant." What? And I'm like,
Were you telling me what
what
I
the fuck is
meant?
wrong with? No, but this is the kind of hilljack that's carrying a gun in his. You know,
Right.
I've got
And
a
if he's
license
that-
to carry.
if he's
So
that
what are we
worked
going to
up-
square off in the
Right.
fucking parking lot
Right
over
here
this
in
shit?
front of my daughter.
When I'm just trying to walk out,
Right.
don't you ever come back? And I'm like, fine. I'm diffusing all the way
Right.
out.
I
And he
feel like you're
follows
one
me
of
out.
those guys that just attracts chaos.
People hate that
You know,
their
I
wives
just
think
try to
they're-
live my life, and people are like, "Kyle, he's a really good guy."
You know
But
what sucks?
I don't know about this Jason fellow.
I'm going to tell you.
They're hearing it on the podcast
actually
now.
gonna tell
You're an
I'm
instigator.
going to tell you a story.
Instigator, I
So-
believe it's a term.
For so many years, I was watching infomercials about the dad bod. So I tried to get one. And I've achieved it. I'm chubby.
Oh, okay.
The dad bod.
You were saying I was trying to get one.
No, I got it. So that was a joke.
Right.
Lead
I
him,
thought
but-
you were saying,
That was not.
you know, there's a guy down the street and really.
No, I was going to test the
Oh.
theory on
Okay.
the beach.
Right.
Dad bod. It was like, "Oh, dad bod." You know, it's on Instagram and all that shit.
Right.
I'm going to tell you it's a lie.
It's a lie.
I've never had a 23 to 35-year-old woman walk past a guy chiseled as shit to talk to me.
Right. They
And I'm
didn't
like,
know.
it's a lie.
I'm
I
just.
said, I have prepped for this. I've looked to see what the greatest dad bod could be.
And here it is.
I'm almost there.
And you've got it smothered in a
And I'm
Roncalli.
telling you what, I walk around going, no bites.
Although maybe that is what they're talking to the chiseled body fellow about. They're like,
They wish you were fatter.
Who do you think that is over there?
Hey, go.
And they're like, I don't know, but I can't take my eyes off him
He must not work out.
ever.
I've never seen him at the gym.
But that's if I ever do a comedy show, that's going to be one of my main fucking topics is all that bullshit. For 10 years we heard about the dad bod.
Well, have you seen the mockumentary? They do those mockumentaries like now. So it's like, you know, what is it? The 1 minute documentary or something like that. And they do a mockumentary, and one of them was the dad bod. It was this woman who started a strip club of all dad bods.
Oh, I would go to that.
Yeah.
That would.
Well, and they said
I don't know
they
why
even
that
have
would
a
make me
snuggle
very
was
room.
happy.
open
They
for
have a
3 days.
snuggle room.
It was only open for 3
They
days.
You
have a
missed your window.
snuggle room. She won't let you eat kale. You know, you have to
Right.
keep your dad bod. So you have to
Cheeseburger it?
cheeseburger and beer.
I like it.
Yeah, but you know.
How's that place doing? What's
I
the
don't-
name
I
of
don't
that? Let's look. I bet I lost stock in that one.
Right.
I'm gonna go out on a
You
limb.
know what though?
There is a place for you.
There is a place. I said that to somebody not very long ago. You've got when you tell me that 3% of the population think you're attractive. If you've got 10,000 friends, that's
Me attractive?
well, no, not
it's
no,
more
not you.
3%. Okay, I'm like,
Right,
I don't know
my
where
fault.
you're throwing I don't know where you're reading your statistics, man.
Right, but I mean, you know,
At
that's
least
a
a 6%.
right, at least 6, minimum 6. But I mean, that's still
What's my wife?
at 10,000. At 10,000
They
people,
nailed it.
that's still
60,000 people, 30,000 people.
right. So it's like.
But you put 30,000
That's a-
people.
that's a big-
Hey, if you
that's a
drop
big window.
30,000 people on the planet, your odds of meeting one of those people very bad. Very bad.
Well, not now. We've got social media. I mean, somebody
Oh, yeah,
right now,
dude.
somebody right now is listening to this and
Guaranteed.
thinking,
There's a chick in Cambodia
Jason,
going,
Jason,
"He's my
Jason.
guy.
They're
He's
just
my guy."
they're just sweating in a room listening
There's-
to this podcast
There's
over and over and
somebody in
over.
Australia going, crikey, that's my guy. Right. And I go, that's not a knife. That's the only Australian.
And then why do you keep
Shrimps on the
saying that?
hobby.
Why do you keep saying
The
that?
dingo ate my baby.
Right. That's
You go to a McDonald's,
Oh.
what would you like to eat? That's not a knife.
They're just mad because I fooled you.
Just don't get bitten by stingrays.
right.
But no, I mean seriously, that would be one of my biggest things because it was such a big fad. I thought, oh, this would be great. And
Finally, my time has come.
Man, I've worked so hard to get to this level, Kyle.
Wait,
And
wait.
now it's a sham.
I
Now I
actually-
gotta go the other way. I gotta starve myself.
I actually
Start
have the
using that
same.
equipment.
I have the same sort of problem. So like when Gen Con came here, I started buying capes.
And
Nobody
no
cares.
superhero.
I get 2 days a year.
They're
You know, like, the cape.
guy's
I
got a
understand.
cape. He must
I've
have
got
a-
my sword. You know, I got all of
He
it.
must have irritable
I'm all
bowel
set.
syndrome.
Yeah, right.
No superhero wears a cape anymore. He must have irritable bowel syndrome.
Right.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Well, we got to, I mean, if you stayed in a hostel, saw a guy, you've got to have another great one. There's got to be something else out there.
I don't know. What do you mean about hostels?
No, about life.
Life.
You're
Oh, sure.
you're hit the traveling man. You've been around. I mean, you've got some.
Right.
You've experienced it.
I don't like to say, you get around.
All right. Well,
That's
yeah.
why I
look-
said the
Connotation
thing.
to it.
Right. He said the thing.
Okay.
You said the
okay,
thing.
Okay.
Nobody knows what they're going to assume what
Which
the thing is.
Which
Right.
thing is that? You get around.
You've lived. You've
I've
done
lived.
things.
I've done things.
More than us.
Right.
I mean, I feel like I've been cheated. at this
Right.
point.
Yeah. Well, let's
And
go.
I've done
Road
some
trip
great
right
things.
now. Yeah.
I mean, I've had some good times.
All
but-
mine always involve like idiocy though. Like yours involves fun. Now the age thing is a little like my 16-year-old. He'd be dead in the ditch like now. But
I don't know. I mean, I guess because, I started swimming at 4. Like at 4, I was competing. So that was like my life. So I lived this very like.
Where did you grow
life-
up? Here in Indiana?
I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because then, remember. When
yeah, she was a gator.
So I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I was
think.
a Greenwood Gator. I
She's
swam
a
for the-
gator.
I swam
Oh.
for the Greenwood Gators.
Wow,
And
for-
I swam for the Elks team.
You didn't
And I
swim for the carefree crocodiles?
No carefree crocodiles.
Or I forget which one's my kids. So, but my question is, you said a private school or something.
shows.
And I'm trying to figure out what traveling, like one of the military academies or something?
No,
Where, like-
no. I went to school in Tennessee.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Because
it
I'm
was-
like, there's no
yeah,
boarding school
yeah,
here
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not
Well,
military
or Catholic. There's
Right.
the what is it? The girl.
Yes, Saint.
yeah.
My dad used to tell my sister, "I'm going to send you to Oldenburg."
Yeah,
Academy."
Oldenburg. That's it.
Oldenburg
That's it. That's it.
Academy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I really wanted to go to one in Wisconsin initially, or no.
Why
Oregon.
did you want to get? Why? Just why?
Because
Why would you?
I
Want
just
to go to a
wanted
boarding
out.
school?
I just
Why?
wanted out. I wanted.
How did you know at that age you wanted out?
I just knew. I knew it would be no good for me to stay in that small town and to be there and
Small
and,
town
and I
that
swam.
we're talking about south of here.
No, I
Or were you
I
from a
grew up.
smaller
I grew
town
up
than that?
a smaller town than that.
What's it start with?
NS. He does. He works for them now.
That's not that small anymore.
Well, I mean, I graduated high school in '96, so it was '93 when I went away.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I did my sophomore, junior, and senior year at Washington College Academy in Limestone,
was that
Tennessee, in Jonesboro,
was that all
Tennessee.
girls or was it?
No, it was.
Was it suit
It
and
was
tie and
non.
all
It
that
was
shit?
no, just only on Fridays. Only on Fridays we had to wear like khakis and a blue.
Outside of that, you
blazer.
could wear whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Really? Sounds like
And we had a
parents
girls'
got-
dorm and a boys' dorm, and
How many people in school there?
I graduated with 8 people in my class.
You like that?
Well, yeah,
That's
I mean,
why
it
you
was.
got into so much shit. It was a bunch of fucking rich kids
Well-
that had shit at their disposal because they. Oh my goodness.
No. I mean a lot of that happened before. You know, it was an experience. It was the school had it actually had been closed down and it just had reopened the year that I went there. And our headmaster and his wife were from New York, and he came from a school in Egypt prior to that. I don't know what he's
What? So why would he agree? Did he not read? That sounds like a scam.
No, I mean
almost.
the school was
Why wouldn't he take? Why
we
didn't he let
went
you go
to visit
Wisconsin?
there. We went there to visit. Well, it was less expensive. The school in Tennessee was less expensive. But we went there and he fell in love with the area. I mean, it was a beautiful area. It's the we're about 45 minutes from Bristol and, hour and a half from Knoxville, hour and a half from Asheville, North Carolina. So Tri-Cities
Eastern
area.
Tennessee.
Yeah, right outside Johnson City.
Johnson City, Tennessee.
I know that place.
It was beautiful. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. And our school was like our dorm used to be.
Did they have sports?
Yeah. Yeah.
You graduated 8 people. How many? Like, did 150 go to school there?
There was.
They played like kick the can and
No, we had a soccer
like
team,
pull on a
baseball
rope.
Like they
team,
played a lot
and a
of truth or
basketball
dare.
team.
Throw rocks.
Sounds to
Yeah.
me like they played a
No.
lot of truth or dare. 20 minutes in the closet.
Yeah, throw rock.
No, we used to play that in elementary school. We called it nerd detector when we had inside recess.
Nerd detector.
You're lucky you didn't end up in a penitentiary. Not a fucking.
That's
Hey,
yeah, you avoid.
That's
So
right.
wait a minute, if you go to that boarding school that you go to, what college does that lead you into? Harvard, Yale.
I went to Northeastern University in Boston.
So then you went to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do your chronology here. So let me think about this. You go to Dead concerts at 12, high school in the mountains, and further your left wing, just whatever, Bill, up to Boston area.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
you've enjoyed life. Life's been
yeah,
good.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, fun.
And you can, go to festivals in Vermont, and in the time that it would take you to cross Indiana, you can get through, 3 states in the Northeast.
That sounds like Europe, actually.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like that too.
Go from
you know?
country to country.
Yeah.
it's like a
Hop on
5-minute
train.
bus ride.
No, I couldn't
Yeah.
believe when
Oh yeah.
I was over there, I could not believe how us driving from Indiana to, say, Kansas City,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
we go through 3 states. There, you'd be driving through 4 countries.
Right.
Where every time, like every 2.5 hours,
Hop
you have
on
to
the
show
train,
your
yeah.
passport.
Right.
And when I was over there, we did.
Yep.
So I was there in 2000, which was roughly 15 years after the wall came down.
yeah.
But I was in Poland. I
Yeah,
wasn't in
yeah.
the Western Bloc. I was in the Eastern Bloc. So there was 2 generations
Yeah.
of people. There were the ones that everybody in the Eastern Bloc, every time the history of that's so amazing because like we were in Poland, the Polish people, God forbid, every time they thought somebody was coming to save them from a conqueror,
Right.
they just took them over too.
Right. Well, why not?
I mean, they just got buried. So when we were there, you had the new generation of the young kids that were like, man, this Western culture is
Right.
awesome.
Right.
And you had the old people that didn't trust anybody.
Right.
Like you
Right.
get one
And rightly
cat,
so.
dude spoke no English whatsoever, mean as shit, just give me the fucking money.
Yeah.
Get another cab, it's somebody that's 20 years old, like, man, this is awesome. I'm
Right,
glad
right.
you guys are here. Tell us about when you
Right.
go to the clubs. It was crazy. So a lot of people don't experience that shit. So, I mean, what you're talking about, I don't even know where I was going with that, actually.
It doesn't even matter. It's just,
lost-
it's
I
riveting,
just
though.
lost absolute train of thought there.
It happens.
But, I mean, I guess...
Squirrel.
No,
Squirrel.
That's crazy. But when I was there, that's what was so amazing to me is that I pictured it was going to be like Britain, London, Paris. And I thought, man, this is going to be a third world country.
Sorry, my kid should be sleeping, but she's FaceTiming me.
Tell her you're a superstar. You just got on a podcast with 225 followers.
225 followers.
We need more. Because if we get paid, you get paid.
That's right.
What?
Gonna face that. We're gonna do good night time.
Good night time. Well, so not to cut everything short, but to be real honest, I'm tired of talking to you guys.
This could go in a lot of.
So we're just gonna-
The feeling is mutual.
Right. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. And
I'll expect you to be quiet the whole way home, please.
yeah, the whole way.
Can you
I will
turn
be
the
quiet.
lights on in the car to make
Right.
sure that you get home?
Right.
Right.
At least they'll be brighter than the headlights.
Yeah, that's no shit.
Maybe you want to borrow a flashlight on the window so you can hold it out the window. We're here.
Please.
We're here. Like a walker down the street. I got a
Right.
flashlight. You can, or if you hit one button, it'll strobe. Maybe they'll think they're being abducted by aliens,
Right.
or they'll think it's a cop behind them, and they'll just start pulling over.
Everybody pulls over and just clear sailing.
Well, maybe I have a blue light. Who knows, man? There could be some stuff. Anyway, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I hope it wasn't too uncomfortable for anybody. We'll bring you back because I want to hear more hostile stories.
Okay.
Right. Well, who doesn't?
Right.
Well, you made it to the end. If you liked it, please rate and review it, and don't forget to tell your friends. And just imagine how good this thing would have been if we had an intentional approach. And if you didn't like it and you feel like you could do it better, well, smartass, reach out. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we have an email. It's unplannedapproach@gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.